Welcome to episode 6. Here we are to get your sovereign status, to get our country back. We're with Diane Kazer, pro soccer player and functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, holistic expert, beauty expert, author of Killer Breast. If you got to see the episode that we did, with just me and Diane. I mean, just brilliant. I'm at her clinic in Mexico down here. We're going to implement her protocols. She's also, literally a sovereign who's a leader in the way for others seek out their personal power and speak up for truth. And Dennis Knill, previous sheriff of Ohio, served for 6 years before running for president. Currently serves as justice of the state, sheriff of Yavapai County in Arizona. State chairman, recorder, and coordinator for the Arizona Assembly. Welcome back. Okay, one of the biggest things, because we can only put the ones that will pass by our government censors. They're social media censors, okay? Except they are run by the government. Okay, this one, got it. This one we're to try and keep it cleaned up to where it gets by the government or governmental censors. Yeah, because in Soviet America, this is what we have to do. Well, comrades, good. Welcome.
I've got my tape. There, we're good to go.
Okay, well, I've got a little update. I've got all of the paperwork notarized, okay, so by the public notary and everything. And I'm talking 30 pages, okay, of everything. And I'm going to have it laid out at what I did. It's going to be on our website. It'll probably be on the Dr. B VIP because that one's a private site and they can't really censor it. So, and then I'm going to refer all to the other sites that should be on the bottom of this video that they can go to and find out. We're now looking to record. Okay, so I'm there, and then we're going to set up to where we're going to take it back county by county. And we don't have anything in Orange County in Southern California yet, so I'm going to start to initiate that. I'll get information from Riverside County.
Good.
But one of the things, and there's a couple, the questions that I got today, which they're given to me by somebody that knows a heck of a lot more about this. And has a brand new sovereign, when tax season comes, you really do nothing. Now, Diane, you're a financial analyst. How can you not do it? I mean,
I was a financial planner for 8 years in my 20s, and I sold my practice in 2009. And that was after I had witnessed the ups and the downs and the swings of the economy crashes and realized that a lot of it was just all synthetic, and there was nothing that I could do. There was no impact. After years of asking the questions that no one has ever been able to answer of where does this money go when I pay my taxes? And that's the question that we haven't been asking. And so it's like Susan B. Komen, when you go pay money to these 501c3s, does anybody really know where the money goes? And we actually have public access to some of those things, but yet we continue to give money away to institutions that keep 90% of it for themselves and their own profits, when 10% of it or less actually goes to the end, what they're claiming to be the thing that they're raising money for. And it's very similar to the IRS. So I just didn't pay mine for the last couple of years. And so Dennis is a lot more averse to this. If somebody did come after me for this, because I'm still newer at this, full disclosure, I do have the backups of having the right people on my team so that I can reply to them with the language to get them off my back. So this is where Dennis comes in handy. And I would say, Dennis, I've got a letter of notification. And we've talked about this in several other videos as well, but I'll let Dennis take it from there because I did not pay my taxes this year.
Right. So all you have to do in the packet, Dr. B, you should have 2 forms, one that goes to the IRS and one that goes to the Internal Revenue Service. Okay, they are both 2 separate entities. They both are bankrupt. They shouldn't be around. They shouldn't exist, but they are, just like Biden. Oh, sorry.
We're Where's that tape?
I'll get some more. Just like everything else, you know, it's all fictitious. It's all a scam. But you send those letters, one to the IRS and one to the Internal Revenue Service for your revocation to pay taxes. The only ones who really have to pay taxes are federal employees. Okay, and you don't have to pay taxes too, as long as you put a little notice on your wall. We do not treat federal employees. And if you do, you just pay the tax on that person. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What if like back taxes?
Nope, don't do it. Once you're done with the revocation, it's over. They can't even contact you.
So even if you weren't in the sovereign status in, like, say 2015, 2016, 2017, you know, taxes for all those years. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because my son's in Poland. Okay. And he's like having some back tax issues.
Right.
And he's not sovereign yet.
Yeah. As soon as he fills them out, it's done and over. You don't have to worry about it, because taxes are illegal in the first place. We even have the commissioner from the Internal Revenue Service video. Okay. And you can find that on the AmericanAssemblies.net, the AmericanStatesAssemblies.net website, under the tax section. I believe the video was there with the Internal Revenue Service chief saying that taxes are voluntary unless you're a federal employee.
Wow. Okay, that's incredible. So now I've been looking at different things on YouTube and BitChute and Vimeo where people are challenging like driving without a license.
Correct.
Now you as a sheriff, okay, if somebody, because with your history in police force, we have to educate the police that this isn't. And I mean, Diane, you relayed that story of where you were on the road, and that takes a lot of courage. I mean, what kind of paperwork should you have to say, hey, look, you know, I don't need a license, I don't need registration? Do you need to have a stack of papers that you can give to these guys, or what's the best way to educate police? Because honest to God, I love police. They've saved my family. They've saved, you know, my butt a bunch of times. I mean, you know, the people that defund the police, they should, you know, be locked up. I mean, we need sheriffs. Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But what's the best way to educate without offending?
Okay. What the states have already done is notified the Secretary of State, the Lieutenant Governor, the Governor, most of the sheriffs, you know, like Texas has like 250 counties. Here in Arizona, there's only 15. So we send out letters to each sheriff's department stating that the American nationals are back, the people, the lawful people of the land and soil. But see, that happened, you know, a couple of months to a year ago, and things were different then. Right now, the de facto is on its way out. They don't care what they are doing. They don't care how illegal it is. They don't care if you are right or wrong. They don't care. Okay, so they're just running amok right now. So you may have all the exact paperwork and everything, and you still may get dragged out of your car and beat up and then thrown in jail, okay, for having all the correct paperwork. Then you suffer the consequences for a time. Okay, and then Anna on her call on Monday, I don't know if you were able to get on there, she stated that when you go to court, all you have to do, one, you don't cross the bar, and then two, you say, you know, I've got it written down, I want to say it exactly so nobody gets confused. You say, I am an American standing under public law. And they'll look at you kind of funny and scratch their head and rub their chin, pick their nose or whatever. And then you say, are you giving me full disclosure of this case claim? And the judge should dismiss it right away, because whether he says yes or no, he's caught in a lie. because they can't.
You mean that that's the small wall where, like, the defendant and prosecution, you do not cross that.
Do not cross that, because then you're in their jurisdiction.
That maritime area.
Exactly. Yep. So, but yeah, but we still try to, educate, all the policemen and stuff. I mean, a lot of policemen are really good, but then you get that one idiot that thinks he's, God to everybody on earth and just wants to take control and thump heads. And, he goes to work for, physical exercise, just beating up people just because he thinks he can. Right. Well, eventually he will lose his job or be thrown in jail himself, because he is not upholding the public law. They don't even know what the public law is. All they know, most patrolmen don't know that there is a public law. They don't know that there are American nationals. So like Anna says, don't poke the bear, do everything, that you would normally do. I even have a paper that says the Supreme Court, okay, the U.S. Supreme Court says you do not have to have a car registration. You do not have to have a license plate. You do not have to have car insurance, even though it's very advisable. And you do not have to have a driver's license to travel on the roadways. And there's like 50 cases on that state it. But you show that to a cop who's pulling you over for expired tags or something, he doesn't want to hear it. So you give them your credential card, and some of them will say, oh, how can I get one of these? And others will say, this is a fictitious ID, and they yank you out of the car and they throw you in the back of theirs, and, and then haul you off to jail, impound your car, and then you go in and you can get all of your funds and everything back once you get out of court by stating the facts that I'm an American under public law.
American under public law.
Under public law. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So,
okay.
but things are really changing I'm trying to stay positive, but they don't care.
Yeah.
They really don't. So we have to be careful, watch our P's and Q's. Don't, poke the bear, get anybody upset or whatever, because you only end up hurting at that point until you can get repercussions. I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, especially in Sedona, I have just befriended all the police there and let them know what we're doing, and let them know that we're on their side too, because when they can see that we're not here to defund or anything negative or derogatory as far as press, we're all in the same boat. When they see that we're not the crazy criminals, the kinds that people have. When you go look, like we've talked about this before, when you go onto YouTube and you type in sovereign citizen, which is what people will always say, that's not what we are. We're American nationals. But when you go type that in, they put us in a negative light to make it appear as though any religion, or who wants to get out of a cult. Anybody who wants to get out of a cult, then that's where you see people being belittled. And you've seen that in many other places in Hollywood, and it looks like it's just from a movie, but that's where they start to desensitize this whole concept that you want your freedom and you're going to pay for it in a negative light. So just when you look above that, you can see and you can start to understand, not understand, because you're not standing under anybody. When you start to understand what your true sovereign soul is here to do, then you're not under the law, which is under. When you're understanding, you're under their law, and you're a corpse in the corporation of America, and you go into the court system. There's a reason why they're all wearing black. I mean, this is a cult. That's what this is. And when you can truly see that and get outside of the programming that so many of us, all of us, have been under since we started going into school systems, and they've been programming us since day one. If you can get out of that, then understand that a lot of your family is going to question you too, and they're going to make you seem crazy. But what's crazier is continuing to do what they say. And what the next step is, we can see the writing on the wall. History is repeating itself, but you can unplug yourself from it.
Now, when, like, let's say as a new sovereign, who can you call for legal advice, legal assistance?
Well, right now we have a couple different law groups. They started out with like, a family run operation, and now they're both up to, they have offices here and there and everywhere. And one guy started with 3 of them, and now there's like 50. They just keep adding constitutional lawyers on. I could look for that phone number and give it to you. One's the common law group, I believe, and the other one's the Kirkland Law Group.
I know the common law group or read it before.
Right.
Now, let's say, because I want to start taking over Orange County, and I know that's like simple. Take back the country seems too big, but
Yes.
It's like the whole eating an elephant. We take it by
Right.
county by county, and then we'll be able to eat the elephants piece by piece.
Can we still massage an elephant? Can we massage the elephant instead of eating it?
You're right. Massaging the elephant would be too big a job, so we'll just pick a small section.
Like a toe.
Right. That is always grossed me out.
Right.
Yeah, or spinning cats. I don't know why our whole language has been put under the spell with this crazy language.
Yeah, and you could kill how many birds with one stone? Okay. So when we look at taking back a county, when we start forming those groups and we start getting people involved, when do you talk to the local county representatives of the cult that's now currently in power?
You can. I would always go with somebody, so in case you don't say the wrong word, somebody knows where you're at. If they decide to throw you in jail as a terrorist, so always go with someone, good companion, great conversation between everybody. And, someone else that you go with may, think of a different point to talk to, this officer about and so on like that. But yeah, it's a friendly thing. You go and explain, you show them your credential card, your paperwork and stuff, and say, we are here, we have your backs, and as long as you have ours, we're peaceful people, and we're just trying to correct things, bring them back to the way they're supposed to be, instead of so far out and outrageous to what's going on now.
I think that's going to be one of the easiest ways to get that pattern interrupt, where people think that they're protected by the Constitution, they have a freedom of speech and assembly, and now after a year of totalitarian control, where their rights are being taken, and they gotta see that the financial world is collapsing. I mean, these people invested in the stock market who have pension funds and everything else, they're going to be worthless.
Right.
And so now I think it's getting people to where they're going to start to look into something that might be, I mean, it's like a life raft. It's the only way that we can save ourselves. So
yeah, exactly.
I like that. So everything being destroyed right now gives an opportunity to where people, they're not going to say, hey, look, my world is fine, why do I want to change? Right. It's like, my world is completely changing, it's going to heck. Okay. Yeah. There's a local girl walking around with an IV. No.
Oh, that's the IV we like.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's Sarah. It's our clinic down here. Okay. And that's my sweetheart.
Love. Yeah. I love it. She's wearing love. Hi, Miss Bergman.
She said hi.
Hi.
Okay. Get back out, baby.
Those are the right kinds of needles to have in your arm.
Yeah, right. Yeah. When you're getting, I just had blood ozone, okay, and tomorrow I'm going to do glutathione and some minerals. But that's taking care of your own health makes sense, okay? Right. And when people are looking at forced medical procedures without informed consent, particularly experimental medical procedures that aren't even approved, even if they were approved,
right?
I don't want anyone forcing anything on me.
Exactly.
And that's a good way to help. Now, I like this. Here's one of the other questions. When you say the courts are up and running, what exactly does that mean? What kind of court system do American nationals have?
Okay, here in Arizona, we have our state court. Okay, in other words, we have enough people in the assembly to be a justice, to be a bondsman, to have a clerk, to have a recorder, to have a jury. And if there's a case going against one of the American nationals, we call the jury together and everybody and have our court. And we record it and, stamp it. And the jurors are the ones that the justice just sits there to keep order. All right. So there is no prosecutor. It's just this person against, this people against that people because they're American nationals, or an American national against US citizen. And the jury is the one that hears it and makes all the decisions.
Wow.
And if it's a law that's put out by the de facto that doesn't make any sense, like I heard about one law that it's illegal to have your donkeys drinking out of the water trough as it's going through town. This is back from the 1850s and 1880s, and it's still on the books. So you can say, okay, so somebody had a water trough out there and the guy went in and drank from it, or had his horse or dog drinking from it. You just say, okay, it's null and void. That one's out of here. Case dismissed. But whatever the case is, the jury handles it, and the justice just sits there and makes sure that order's kept in the court, along with the sergeant at arms and the bailiff and whoever else is there. But we have our courts up and running, but there's really no action as to an American national going against an American national, and that's it right now. But they are up and running, and we have the stamps and the paperwork and the clerks and so on to operate it. So yeah.
Beautiful. And so when we're looking at the court system, we're looking at the legal system. What's crazy is libertarianism, like Ron Paul, who right. It's brilliant. He's talking about how the rights of the individual, how the Constitution is amazing because it gives a check and it restricts the government
right.
from taking away the rights. It gives rights to the people.
Right.
Do we have, as American nationals, do we have a good relationship with libertarians, or it seems like it's along the same lines?
Well, see, it's all along the same lines. It's kind of like patriot parties, different groups and stuff, whether they're Democrats or they're Republicans or whatever, and they just want their, these different political parties. There's so many of them, like Oath Keepers and other different places like that, other different organizations, the lower 48s, and those are just some of the ones I can think of. We're all kind of on the same page, but to be exactly on the same page, they have to correct their political status, because if they don't, they're considered a British territorial agent. That's what US citizens are. They're part of the Pope and the Queen. If you don't change your political status, you are not on the land and soil. You are out in the sea because of your birth certificate. They make you a corporation, put you in maritime jurisdiction.
To get more people involved in this, have you guys tried to approach like some of the groups that you're talking about?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because we're on common ground.
Yeah, there's a lot that, but yeah, we have, but they're in this mode of trying to get their candidate in to run so that they can have a job, in their office and or whatever, and try to change things that way. But it's like when people go to vote, all right, one, it's supposedly illegal for citizens to vote because it's corporations. And corporations don't let outside people come in to vote. But since you are a corporation because of your birth certificate, they're allowing you to vote. All right. But it's like voting for the president of Burger King, because it's all de facto. It means absolutely nothing. They have no control over American nationals whatsoever. Neither do their 80 million statutes and laws. So trying to convince them to, they want a good guy. And it's like, when I ran for president, the same thing, it's like I went to the Republican Party and I says, I'm running. And they said, that's nice. We already have our candidate. Do you have $9 million to run? No. So it's like they don't want to hear it. They're already, it's like they've got their blinders on. They're just seeing one way and that's it. And that's what political parties do. But it doesn't have anything to do with the public law. It's all corporation stuff.
So now to convert the public servants, okay, and I'm thinking about
Right.
police force, judges, everything,
Right.
because these guys, they actually took an oath to uphold the Constitution,
Right.
okay, and they're not doing it. And
Right.
when they get aware of this, it's going to be okay. What about do they have to be concerned about their pension that they paid in?
No.
Can they change their political status and still be a cop?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, so can the military. They can be, military by day and American national at night, as long as they're not an officer.
And that won't affect their pension, or
Nope.
because that's
Nope.
more like an insurance program that's
Right.
that's separate. And that's the same thing with Social Security.
Correct. You still collect Social Security, you get all your benefits, you get everything.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That I think that's a great way to get it, because if we can convert those in a position of authority to being aware that they're doing things that are against their oath that they
Right.
took, okay, and that literally we have certain rights that can't be separated from us.
Right.
And
Well, exactly. Yeah. All of the constitutional rights belong to Americans, American nationals. U.S. citizens have no constitutional rights because they're in the wrong jurisdiction. They're in the C jurisdiction. They're British territorial subjects. Even
Wow.
though they were born here, because of their birth certificate, they were placed there without their knowledge. It's all fraud, and fraud vitiates everything. And we're trying to get people to understand that. Okay. And as things go on and things change, yes, some people finally, the light bulb goes on. And they say, wow, I've been looking at this all wrong. And they say, how do I get started on this? And then they're excited and they just keep going. And that's what we have to do, is wake people up to, try and inform them everything is going to be okay. But this is what we have to do. And if we
Okay.
don't, it's going to keep going like it's going and get worse.
So for anybody that's looking at episode 6, which is this one first, okay, understand when they're talking about maritime and land and soil, when you look at Perry Mason, okay, that's what I grew up with. Okay, so now there's got to be, okay, so my mom used to watch it all the time. The low wall in the front, the raised diocese, the prosecution on one side, defense on the other, that's the maritime jurisdiction, and that's what our courts, our false courts are based in. Okay,
Right.
and where the founders of the Constitution were part of the land and soil.
Correct.
Okay, and so that is of a different jurisdiction.
Right.
And that is the basis of changing your status to an American national.
Correct. To get in the right jurisdiction. That's all you're doing. You're changing out of the maritime onto the land and soil, where you become an American national.
God, Diane, the way that you put understand as of what was your term?
You mean as far as understand versus understand?
Understand.
The Constitution of the United States of America. That's it. I don't say the word understand anymore, because when we're little kids, we get into this system, and we're indoctrinated from the time that we go to public school, where they indoctrinate you to understand under a teacher, preacher, who is furthering to anchor these belief systems. From a very young age, we have given our power away. We look up at the world and we're so little, and we see all of these people above us where we understand, and we tend to pedestalize at a very young age because we're so small, we don't understand anything any better. So we have from a very young age given our power away to authority and have not questioned any of it. And that is the biggest problem. So anybody, as crazy as some theories are out there in the world, like the flat earths or whatever, all these, theories that are out there, I commend people for thinking outside the box. I don't whiplash anybody for thinking outside of what we've been taught, because it's an exercise, it's an exorcism of these belief systems that have been placed into us from a very young age, from the time our last name was capitalized or our first name on our birth certificate. And if we don't think that the future is in the hands of our children who are being continually indoctrinated, and I wanted to say something right now at this very moment, this very second, what's happening is that there is a war on our children and our future. And what's happening at this moment, the letters F space blank A, there's an advisory committee meeting happening right now that's just being finalized to expand the emergency use of things put into the arms of children without parental consent or even knowledge. That is adjourning right now in this very minute on the East Coast. So this is the prison system that we're in, and this is the future. That if we continue to give our children away, our future, if we don't see that they are imprisoning them to use them for the future of what they want to enlist into our nation, into our world, then we're going to stay in the same prison system. And it's a invisible bars, but the way out is to become sovereign. And
it's been insidious that this education system has changed. The education that the three of us had, we're in three different eras, or two different eras. Me and Dennis are the same.
Yeah.
Our education was completely different. I mean, when you look at critical race theory, it is mind-bogglingly stupid that you're looking at the color of the skin and then you're making a judgment or an assessment of that, and you have to, and that's insane. It just doesn't make any sense that we're separating it. But the fact that they're separating children from their parents, I've got a number of patients that have a different view on medical therapy, that they want to choose natural therapy instead of 72 doses of 17 different vaccines injected into the kid. And that might be, personal choice. Might be Amish, you might have religious things, you might have personal beliefs, you might just have a different way of living. But that's being taken away. And now they're taking away, they're having children who don't have the responsibility to vote or to drive because they don't have the mental awareness or the life experience. They're saying, look, you can do life-altering medical procedures that have no long-term studies without even your parents' consent. Okay, that's insane.
That's civil law.
It's mind-blowing. And parents ignorantly are not aware of this, and the public is completely not aware of it. Because I have a number of patients, if I bring up injectable medical procedures, they go, oh, my kids are already grown. They did that before last year. Now it's like it's forced on them to keep their job, to go to a sporting event or anything else, and that's not right. I mean, that's Nuremberg stuff. I mean, we're going against the informed consent, okay, without coercion. Okay, this is, I mean, Nuremberg has just been flushed down the toilet.
And everything will continue to get flushed down the toilet under that civil law system. We're trying to speak a language of people who don't care to hear. And that's why it's going to be more and more and more fatigue to fight this system that doesn't care about our health. Obviously, they don't care about our health or our wealth. They haven't for hundreds of years. So do you want to keep screaming and beating the drum to people who will not care to hear or to pave the path of the system that has always given you freedom, which is under a different type of law where you're untouchable because you own yourself?
So to be sovereign, to be an American national, that means that you have rights that can't be taken away. That means medical freedom, health freedom, it's going to be up to you. Okay. Correct. You can decide for you.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you're actually in a community that has similar values. Now, each person in that community can decide for themselves whether they want medical
Correct.
procedures or don't want, or they want to have a job or in a certain field or not. Nobody's going to force them into a societal category that they're forced to do things that would be personally offensive.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a
Yeah.
really cool world. It really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And there's no, I mean, think about quarantines, the whole art of a 10-day quarantine. That's it. They're getting you normalized and familiarized with small cells, jail, prison cells. And it's to say, I'm done with this system. I'm not partaking in this system. This is not my reality. And you get to choose that.
And I like the fact that they couldn't isolate people in prison, so they let them out.
You're right. Right. Or let's incentivize them by if they get the thing.
Yeah, they get 50% off the sentence.
Then, yeah, they get exactly. Incentive. So now we're going to set them free. We're going to set them free. Okay, well that sounds safe.
Mind blowing. Okay, we know that the world is changing. Okay, and if you have a memory before 2020, okay, where you were in the delusion that you were protected by certain things, and now the reality is you do not have those protections to protect your right to work, your right to speech, your right to assembly, your right to worship. Those rights have been taken away. The only way to get back is to change your natural status, get back to the land and soil, which was the founding fathers did. It requires a minimal effort, okay?
Yeah.
But the ways that we can get it back are there. Now,
Right.
Now this is going to be our closing comments. Diane, what do you recommend to somebody that's just now slowly waking up? What's their first step?
Mm-hmm. The first thing is to form a community and get on the calls with Dennis or myself on Thursdays. And you can just start asking questions. You know, we created a website too where you guys can gain access to Anna. And what's really great is Anna is the one who's overseeing this whole thing. On Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time, she is now available to more than just 500 people. It used to only be just 500 people who could hop on a call and just listen to her speak. Now she's opened up the floor, and there's I can't remember how many, Dennis, like thousands now that she's opened up.
5,000 it's opened up to, yeah.
Yeah, so now there's a lot more of us, because I try to get on sometimes. It's like that fills up very quickly. People need, first of all, to have the curiosity. It's an energy thing too. It's the curiosity. What is this? If you have the curiosity, that's it. You have the first question. That's step one, is that you have questions beyond accepting that this is our reality, to keep ourselves stuck in this prison system, in this corporation. The second step is the courage to start moving into action, because this does take courage. I mean, you could have the curiosity all day long, but if you don't have the courage to claim your freedom, then you'll never have it. So it's an energy thing. And for a woman, as a woman, we think we need to give ourselves away to people please, to not rock the boat, to fit in, to give everything away. But that's also slavery. And women in slavery have thought that we need to give our physical bodies away too. And that can be, there's a light and shadow side to everything. And it doesn't need to appear as though you're being selfish for claiming your sovereignty. It is actually selfless, because when you're free, that spreads. I don't want to say the word, that's blank rule. But when you see other people claiming their power and claiming their crown of sovereignty, this is the thing I am approached now more than health and detox and healing people's hormones. They want to know how to become free. And so it's curiosity, it's courage, then it's community. And when you have all of those things and you actually put pen to paper and finally take action and proudly wear your badge of sovereignty, people want to know, how do I do this? How do I do this? And what is this about? And you also have to face, like I said before, you'll get stones thrown at you just like Jesus. You'll get stones thrown at you for taking action because it exposes other people's inaction. So that's another part of the courage aspect. So beyond that, once you find your people, then you're forever locked in LinkedIn. And there are other steps. There's some little missing pieces that once you go sovereign, there's other things too to protect you. And that's what we'll put in the links below. So join us on Thursdays, join us on Mondays, 6 p.m. Pacific time. and then just gather a lot of information. You need to carve out some time for sure. Like you need to carve out time to really truly understand what freedom really is beyond the lies that we've been fed about waving flags and presidents and all the other lies, the green screens and the flag at half-mast that's at the White House now. It's all a bunch of lies, everybody. We have been duped. We have all been duped. We have to get past that and forgive ourselves for believing the lies.
Good God. Eloquent and brilliant. Dennis, I hate that you got a follower, brother.
Where's my tape?
Oh God! You know what my wife would say? My wife would say ditto.
Right. Ditto.
Dennis is the head. I'm the heart. He's got the how-to.
I'm just so lucky to know you guys.
What I'd also like to add to that is to get in touch with your state coordinator. Go to the AmericanStatesAssembly.net, where they have a map of all the different states. Click on that state. It'll tell you who the state coordinator is. They can put you in charge with the county coordinator. Okay, that's where you want to start. We want to build the counties, get them up and running. That's where you start it, right around the kitchen table with friends and family and associates. Get the group growing, and as it starts to grow, more and more people get excited, and before you know it, the whole county is up and running, and you don't have to worry about the garbage that's out there coming in. Because then you go to the next county and you help them build. And before you know it, the whole state is sovereign. And you don't have any of the crap coming across the borders. Because if you do, you just tell them, get out. Okay, Arizona's on land and soil. That's it. California's on land and soil. That's it. We don't want any of your stuff. Go away. Okay, and if you don't and you cross the line, you're in trouble. Because now the public law kicks in, all right? And we are the lawful government of the United States of America, unincorporated. And ditto.
So if you're liking the nanny state, if you like, somebody saying, cover your nose, sir. Okay, if you like being told what to do, whether you can work or not work, this isn't for you. If you like freedoms, where you're going to take back your rights and you like personal responsibility and to get our country back to where it used to be, okay, where you did have inalienable rights and you could assembly and speech, and we didn't have to check our speech. We didn't have to say this or that or Cinco Hey or a bunch of other stuff that you can't say now in our socialist restrictive environment. Yeah,
got my tape. Be careful.
Okay. Look at the links below. Look at the videos. Hook up with Anna on Monday. Hook up on Thursday night with Dennis and Diane. I mean, this is, we just make the effort. And if it resonates with your soul, if freedom resonates, if responsibility resonates, by God, welcome to the revolution. Okay,
wrong word to use.
Oh, wait.
Got the tape.
I love you guys. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you for the awakening. Instead of that R word, the awakening.
Welcome to the awakening. Except that whole woke culture drives me nuts. If you tear down a statue, okay, that ain't woke. Okay,
no,
you're doomed to repeat the history that you're ripping out.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
God bless you both. Okay, I can hardly wait for episode 7.
Right. That one's coming on right now, right?
Absolutely. Amen. If you can hear my voice, you are part of the resistance.